Well, hi everyone, Wellstarbursts here. I've had a few requests in the past to go through my process of building. That is, what goes through my head while I build in the process of having my idea come to fruition. And as a preface, I'd like to state that you aren't forced to abide by the same steps that I do while I build. Everyone has their own most effective way to build, but I do believe that this tutorial can give you some handy tips that you may begin to employ if you don't already. So my building process actually follows a pretty simplistic and systematic flowchart, and we're going to be analyzing what takes place at each step. So here's the flowchart. Get an idea, build the idea, step back and ask yourself, does it look nice and meet my expectations? Yes? Well, good, you're done. No? What can I do to improve it? Go ahead and improve it, and then go back to asking if it looks nice. So first we begin with the idea. This can be purely from your imagination, or you can use samples from the real world and other art. You may even end up working on someone else's project, in which case you may be required to abide by their designs. Any way you slice it, when you begin building, you at least have some notion of what you want to get out of it. So I have the first step of my flowchart down. I have my idea because I'm adhering to the style of my town. I already have a simple palette in place and a basic design to go off of, which is universal within our project. So I begin the second step of the process, executing my idea. So this is what a finished piece from the second step of the flowchart looks like. Kind of crappy, but at least I've placed some blocks down and at least I've sort of built what I intended to. And then we move on to the easy third step of the process. Step away from your work and take a look at what you've built and answer the following question. Does it look nice? If your answer is yes, then you're done. Your answer should not be yes the first time around, and if it is, you're the best builder in the world. Congratulations. But for the rest of us who are more normal and must repeat the process several times before we can answer yes, it's time for the fourth part of the flowchart. Also note that this is the most important part of the building process. If you can accurately analyze what's right and what's wrong with your build, and correct those mistakes, and reincorporate what is found to be good in the build, then you're pretty much set. But for most of us, myself included, it may take a bit more trial and error. The first iteration is usually pretty easy. The wall is flat, let's add some depth in a very conventional way. The bottom seems a bit too bland, let's add some texture there. The logs adhere to the principle of movement. Let's remember not to touch those or place too many because either one would ruin what I have there. And that right there is the next part of the flowchart. After you identify what needs to be done, simply fix it. So then the process repeats. It's very important that you don't spend too much time going back and building without taking a large step back and looking at what you've made. It is all too easy to get trapped into thinking that something doesn't look right when your view of it looks like this for 15 minutes at a time. But taking a step back allows you to see the portion of your build that you worked on in context, and often grants the builder the ability to more accurately analyze their build in the third and fourth steps of this flowchart. And mind you, the samples that I'm showing in the video do not reflect what I accomplish between each iteration. If I decide that I want to add something significant, it usually takes a few tries to get it right. What you're seeing, for the sake of your time, is what I deem to be the iteration in which I successfully added a different significant component to the build. In reality, I step back whenever I make any small changes, which are often experimental. Does the change look good? If so, then I remember to use it again in another build. If you don't find what's wrong with your build using the elements and principles, then don't be afraid to simply try and fail until you succeed. Using this method, the process of building this took over an hour. And that's all there really is to my building process. I just repeat the portion of the flowchart until I have what I like. I hope this video helped, and thank you for watching.